Hi, welcome to a quick video on how to get your plotting going in TBC, where you need at least one plot sheet or two or three or more. So we'll just jump to a drafting tab and we'll go to the templates. Let's bring this over here. Okay, so these ones are all pre-populated from TBC. I'm going to use the A3 plan set for in English language. And I just need to drag that in. Really, this button just gives you a shortcut to a Windows Explorer location. And so that will import. Won't actually change anything in our model space, in here, in the plan view of the model, but we see in the Project Explorer that's popped up now. So then what this has generated, these ones act as the sort of area that a lot of additional components have been stored in. And we don't actually use those for the plotting as such. It's just a way of generating a lot of extra layers and some alternative title blocks. So I can leave those ones alone. And then these ones, we have a should only have this A3 plans, which will be a plan grid, and then we have some that are set up for roading. These will do a cross section, either as one column, two columns with grids or tables, and then plan and profile. So we've got a few things we can use here, and we just need to use this one. So firstly, what I'll do is I'll come across to here, and I'm not going to use the Create DynaView. I'm just going to tap on the little down arrow and use DynaView Collection, because the DynaView Collections tie into these plan grids, and I find them a lot easier to use. So up to you what you call it. I could just call it DV1 for DynaView 1. You may want to have it aligned with the particular one that you're using it for there. Something that's been put in here to make their use a little easier. So this dimension here coincides with the dimension of the actual plot frame that will be generated and is allowable on that particular sheet. So if I go new sheet view and have a look at it, so we're talking about this area just here, happens to be 290 by 277. So with this, I can go 290, 277. Now, in this case, I'm using an unusual plot scale just because I know how big this will plot at, and 150 works okay for that. Now, to begin with, I'll just do 1 by 1. So that's just going to create one plot frame. I've got a 20 mil overlap in X and Y. If I'm only doing one plot sheet, I don't really use that. And then I need to put this into a layer as it generates. So if I tap S, I'll just keep going down through all of the S, and there we go, sheet DynaView boxes. And that now allows me to click on first sheet origin, and I can think, well, I'll try to get this to jump about there. Might work okay. Enter, and we can close out of that. And this still doesn't have any sheets that we can generate. There's no little push down here. Even if I click to build sheets, when I come back over here, nothing's been done. And that's because the way that these plan grids work, if I select that and go to the properties of it, it's looking for a DynaView collection or a boundary set. And so if I tell it to use that one, then it's now going to allow me to come back to Project Explorer, click to build sheets, and it will build one sheet, and then I can select that, and we get our first sheet. Now I can see here, not everything's been filled out. It's using the all plot filter as well. I'll do a more thorough video on this stuff, but just for this short one, I'll go through how to get a secondary sheet occurring. So let's jump back into here, and I can right click this. I don't have to generate a new DynaView collection or boundary set. I can just jump in and edit this one. So now I want this to be smaller. I want a 1:50 scale. For some reason I want something quite massive. And let's give it a go at 2 by 2. And here we go. We're starting to generate it like that. We might actually need to go with 3 by 2. Okay, so we're going to overlap our site plan like that. And enter. Close that. Okay, so now we've got 6 sheets. And if I come over here and click to build sheets again, I can jump through all of the individual sheets like this. And that's working pretty well. Everything's coming through. I'd want to go through and fix up my my view filters so I'm not plotting everything. Have a look here, I'm running on my filter at the moment. I do have a plot filter and I've got an all filter. This should roughly be the plot filter. And what I can do is come back to the properties of that, change this to plot filter, and if I click build sheets again, now when I come back into sheet 1, that's looking a lot tidier. Okay. These are just usual kind of CAD objects. They hold a little bit of extra, I guess, function because they allow this section to be populated into our sheet space, into our paper space. I can move them. I don't have to just accept where they come from when we do the initial DynaView boundary collection. And so I can grab any of these and shift them around. Doesn't really matter too much. Oops. Obviously, it's going to affect what's being plotted, but we can push those along wherever we want. So if we're trying to follow a linear object, we can generate 100 in a line and we can just slowly sort of shift those around. You may find that rather than using this move objects command up here, would actually be a little bit faster to use this CAD command line down here. And then I can just go M for move, and I can grab that one. I can grab that object, space, and that one. I can grab that object, space, that one. And so using the move function and the spacebar to repeat the last function, you can actually move these a lot faster than using the generic move command. Okay, that's one way of doing it. I'll attempt to put a little break in the video here. I'll pause for a sec. All right, I've shifted these DynaView collection frames out of the way, so we're done with this one. Nice and easy way of getting multiple sheets though. And what I'll now do is come over here and I'm going to create a custom sheet set instead. So within this plan set, I'm creating a new sheet set called custom sheet. And then I have to put in what sheets I want in there. If you know roughly how many you need, you can enter them there. And if you want to add extra ones later, you can just come in, right click and say create custom sheet set, create custom sheet, sorry. And if I click like that, it's going to make a number 3 there now. Okay. So if we have a look at what's contained here, we get the pro forma because that was part of the plan set. And so it's migrated down into the sheet set. And then it migrates down into the individual sheets. If we have a look at this one we were using before, it had some other text and things. One way of just shifting that across with this smart text so it can go into the other sheet is just to grab it like this and go copy to sheet. And I'm going to copy to this one because then it will populate all the way down through these. And if I come back to that, yep, it's copied in. All right. Now, if we look at the properties of this, there's no way of linking a set of boundaries or DynaViews. So we need to create those, and we need to create them at the right size, scale. So one way to do that, if we're going completely away from anything else, would be just to make a rectangle. I'm going to call it DynaView frame. I have created a couple of layers here, DynaView of sheet 1, DynaView of sheet 2, just so I can control when they get turned on and off. And I'm going to put the first one here, and what I'm going to do, copy that coordinate, and then just go plus 0.29, and we'll come along to here and go plus 0.277, enter, and we get this to the correct size proportions that we need here, but it's just done at the paper scale. So now we can scale it up, hopefully SC, yep, from there, and we'll go 100, 100, and that. Okay. So that gets us our first frame that's going to cover a section here. So now I'll move that along. Let's dump that there. And we're going to copy it as well. I'll pop that there. Now this first one is in DB sheet 1. This second one I'm going to pop into DB sheet 2. Disappeared because at the moment my plot filter has got it turned off, but if we put on the my filter, it should be fine. Yep, I've got an extra one here for some reason. Yep, okay, that's looking good. Now, we've got those shown where they should be. We'll come to our drafting tab, create DynaView. We can name it if we want, DV sheet 1. And we can pop it into that same layer because we know that that's going to get turned on. I grab this frame. It's going to the default of 1:150 because of the project settings. And at the moment, it's on the My filter. We'll play around with that in a moment. But here, it needs a location, and it needs a location within the actual proforma sheet, so the paper space. So you can come to here, click there, enter. Okay, we've got that one starting to work. Now, we'll come back to model space, create DynaView again. DB sheet 2, put it there, grab that frame, overwrite that to 100, and I'll jump to sheet 2. Oh, did that work? Because it's turned off. Twice. I did do that twice. Silly me. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, and because they've been done in what I'd call the child sheets here, not the parent sheet, number 3 has nothing. That's how we want it to be. Okay, so that's how we could build multiple sheets with the custom sheet set. Just as a little bonus at the end here, one thing we'd probably want to do is set up some additional plots here. So you can see I've got one called plot and then one called sheet 2 plot. That's just been done from using copy, and I can say sheet 1 plot. Okay. And so what I would do is on sheet 1, select the DynaView, go to the properties of it, tell it that I want it to use sheet 1 plot, and then with that one active, you can see here that we're seeing sheet number 2's boundary. And so now I can come in and I can turn off that. And then I can jump to sheet 2. I've already created this one. And here I can tell it that in sheet 2 plot, I want to see sheet number 2. I don't want to see sheet number 1. And then I just go to the properties of that DynaView and I change this to sheet 2. And so then when I'm looking at each individual sheet, this one looks like that when it's running that one. And this one, when I change over my view filter, looks like that. So just a way of controlling that with different filters to filter out those specific plots as we go down and through. Okay, hopefully that's been helpful to you. A couple of ways of generating multiple sheets in TBC.